Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at Powerslam.tv.
That's right, guys. Powerslam TV, the largest independent wrestling streaming network in the world. Over 4,000 hours worth of content for over 100 different promotions in over 15 different countries around the globe. They are the largest independent wrestling streaming service in the world, and if you use the code THINKFREE, then you can get your first month completely free, hence the word free. So you can put that in the sign up place, get your first month completely free. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Think Wrestling. My name is Tom, and this is the... I always say return, but it's not returning. There's just a long wait between them, so yeah. This is the return of my wrestling reviews, but before I get into it, I do want to give a shout out to my friend who runs a YouTube channel. I'm trying to say that. The channel is called Jack Frost Clash Royale. It's a gaming thing basically. They basically post videos of them playing, I believe it's an app called Clash Royale, so their links will be in the description, so you can click that, go and check out their channel, all that good stuff. But yeah, you're here for the review of, sorry, but microphone's in the way, so this might be a bit hideous to listen to, so sorry for in advance. Right, hopefully it wasn't too bad. Anyway, and we're here for the wrestling review, so without any further ado, let's get into it. This is the review of, and I should point out, I know this is late, I am sorry for that, I've not been feeling great, so I just obviously haven't been up to it, but I'm going to get into it now. So, this is my view of Pro Wrestling Subjectives by Hook or by Crutch, which they had this past Wednesday. So kicking things off, I know I keep putting this off, sorry. But I do want to apologise for the odd lighting. As you can see, that half of face is dark and that half is light, so apologies for that, but yeah, it's a pretty bad, it's not very well positioned, but at least you can see me. Anyway, let's get into it. So the first match, this was Liam Roberts. Sorry, I always get confused because my brain always wants to call him Will Starr, because that's what he's known as a commentary pro wrestling. But anyway, it was Liam Roberts, because he wrestles and Liam Roberts elsewhere, versus Nathan Bryan. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not quite sure. So Nathan, if you're watching this and I'm wrong, then I'm sorry. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. I think it's Nathan Bryan. Anyway, great opening contest. A common theme for all these matches is that they're really, really good. Basically, in my time attending pro wrestling so subjective, they've never had a bad match. They've obviously had matches which I and the crowd enjoyed more than others, which every show has. But they've never had a match that I came away from thinking that was a good match. That all the matches on the card were fantastic. So let's just put that out there right now, okay? So don't for a second, if I say this match was fantastic, I don't say that about another match, think that match was bad. It just means that, you know, the match that I think was fantastic was particularly excellent in comparison to all the other ones, which in their own right were excellent. Anyway, off track there. Nathan Bryan versus Liam Roberts. Liam Roberts did pick up the win here, and Liam Roberts, I've got a lot of experience seeing him. I know firsthand how good he is now. I've seen him God knows how many times. He's just one of those talents that, even though when you see him, you know how good he is, he still continues to surprise you. I'll say technically, just regardless of technical or high flying, etc., he's one of the, I believe anyway, one of the best wrestlers in the country, and definitely one of the most underrated. He does not get the credit that he deserves at all. Nathan Bryan, also I will apologise because my screening keeps going off, so that's why you'll occasionally see sort of a bright light come off and on again, because I'm just, keeping the screen on with the mouse. Anyway, Nathan Bryan, I'd never seen him before this point, so Obviously, as I do with every new person that I see, which actually there's quite a few people on here who I've never seen before. I like going into people who I've never seen with an open mind. Basically, I don't like thinking that I don't like being biased against them or for them just because of who they are facing. I like judging them based on what they can do in the ring. Obviously, I'll say that I was cheering Lee Roberts because not only is he a favourite of mine, my apologies, but he's also a face at pro wrestling, so subjective, so everyone was cheering him. Nathan Bryan, though, impressed massively. Like I said, sorry. Like I said, I keep thinking Will Stark is the Will Stark coming to pro wrestling. Lee Roberts, sorry, is a very technical based wrestler. You know, very much mat based. So it's always interesting seeing how his opponent's going to adapt to that sort of thing. But fair play to him, Nathan Bryan adapted really well to that. It was really solid opening contest, but in the end, not enough to overcome Lee Roberts. And you'll see, I do have a grin on my face saying that because I'm a massive fan of him, so I obviously was happy when he won that. So yeah, Lee Roberts did pick up the win there. What was a fantastic opening match. I do hope I'll be seeing more of Nathan Bryan because, like, massively impressed me in my first time seeing him. And I'd like to see what he does against a variety of opponents. You know, not just because Liam is a very technical based wrestler. I mean, he can do things as well. He's absolutely fantastic, but he is much more mat based, and so I'd love to see Nathan face someone more, I don't know, just who wrestles in a very much a different style, just to see how well he can adapt to different styles. But yeah, fantastic match. Lee Roberts, you know, he was fantastic as always. Nathan Bryan, brilliant first impression left on me. I hope it won't be the last I see of him. Next match was the Elite Jordan Experience versus Jack Quinn, and the Elite Jordan Experience, to my knowledge, I may have got this wrong, but I don't think I have, mainly because I think it was posted on the PWS Facebook page, I want to say. I believe the Elite Jordan Experience has only ever lost once at Pro Wrestling Subjective. He's on a winning streak at the moment, but he's not undefeated. So, yeah, in fact, in the last show, so you're just making sure they stayed on. It was an upset win, really. He wasn't like I say the Elite Jordan in the last Pro Wrestling Subjective show last year. He wasn't an underdog, but he was facing the Pro Wrestling Subjective champion Steve Valentino, and he did beat Steve Valentino. So he's got a lot of momentum at the moment. He is on a winning streak. I should also remind you that wasn't a title match in the last show, by the way. We'll get to that later on. So the Elite Jordan Experience is on a bit of a winning streak at the moment, and he did carry on that winning streak against Jack Quinn, who I believe is on Pro Wrestling Malta. I may have got that wrong, but I don't think so, because again, that was posted on the Pro Wrestling Subjective Facebook page. Yeah, the Elite Jordan Experience, I know how good he is. In fact, I've been largely debating doing a video on my top 10, well, I say top 10, on my 10, well, on 10 messages I think you should watch out for in 2019, but I've been putting that off because it's really difficult to narrow it down to 10, basically. But he is one that if people who see him know firsthand how good Elite Jordan is. I'm going to call you Elite Jordan because it's just it's so long to keep saying the Elite Jordan Experience. So if you don't like that, then I'm sorry, but I don't want to spend so long on your name. So anyone who's seen Elite Jordan knows firsthand how good he is, and this is my first time seeing Jack Quinn. So, and again, just like Nathan Bryan, massively impressed me, which is a common theme in these shows. Well, I say in these shows, in every single time that I've seen someone new, I've never really walked away from that thinking they were awful. I mean, obviously there's been people who've impressed me more, and again, that's just subject to opinion, and what I like seeing in the ring, that's just completely subjective, pro wrestling subjective. But there's never been anyone who I've walked away from thinking they weren't that good, and I don't want to see him again. So I am, again, just like Nathan, I know that these do get repetitive, sorry, in the way that I describe talents that I've not seen before, because the only way I can be describing it is by saying, I hope that's not the only time that I've seen, which is true. I know that might get boring for some people, for me to just keep saying they were great first impression, all that sort of thing, but there's not really much more I can say. He was great. I can't go into too much detail because I need to see more of him before I can really expand. But yeah, he held his own against the Electron Experience really, really well. This was a great, again, just like the opener with Nathan Bond and Lou Roberts. This was a fantastic match, and it set up the Electron Experience, not in the storyline but in his streak. Like, he's on a hot streak at the moment in PWS, and considering he beat the Pro Wrestling Subjective Champion the last show, sorry, I am curious to see what happens with him going forward, whether or not, I mean, I'm sure at some point he will challenge for the Pro Wrestling Subjective Championship. You don't do this way, you don't get such a big winning streak and then just to have it... sorry for the burp, by the way. You don't beat the Pro Wrestling Subjective Champion and you don't have such a good winning streak if you're then not going to be able to capitalise on it. So I do hope we'll be seeing a championship match with the Electron Experience in it soon. But yeah, second match of the night, absolutely fantastic. There's nothing to complain about with this. Now, a third match, this was a tag team match. This was the jury, consisting of the Judge and Alexander Hyde, versus the Cannonball Boys, who are part of Steve Valentino's like pirate crew thing, I guess. And I will apologise to the Cannonball Boys if you're watching this, because I can't remember your names. I think it's Jack and Phil, but I'm pretty sure it is, because I remember a lot of people shouting, "Come on, Jack, come on, Phil," so I'm pretty sure it's that. But I'm not certain, and I don't know, I can't remember your last name, so I'm really sorry about that. So I will just refer to you as Jack and Phil, and collectively known as the Cannonball Boys, obviously. But yeah, now the Cannonball Boys are riding a bit of a wave, really. So it's just in the chair, because they beat the usual suspects in the last Pro Wrestling Subjective show, in a massive upset win. No one was expecting that at all, considering how dominant the usual suspects have been. Actually, what I will, speaking of which, what I will say about the first match, Liam Roberts and then Nathan Bryan, is that was originally meant to be Liam Roberts versus Corey Johnson of the usual suspects, but I believe Corey had to pull out. I'm not quite sure why. I'm sure Corey had a good reason for that. You know, injuries, double booking, whatever. I'm not quite sure the reason, but I'm sure he had a very good reason for that. But yeah, so the Cannonball Boys beat the usual suspects in the last match, so in a massive upset win. So although they did still go into this as underdogs, no one was right. No one had written them off already. There was no one in there in that building or venue, thinking that they've already lost this. No one thought that because of how well they did against the usual suspects. That said, though, they did lose. The jury did pick up the win. Jury, obviously, consisting of the judge Alexander Hyde. The jury did pick up the win. How they picked up the win, I can't remember, so I will apologise for that. Yeah, Phil, I think it's Phil, the one with the shorter brown hair, was in the ring for the most part for the Cannonball Boys, and he did take a lot of damage in that match. He took a lot of abuse from both the Judge and Alexander Hyde, and so that was really building up the sort of hot tag, is it called? I think it is. You know, that he was building up the what's the word? The anticipation. It was building. You know, he was getting the audience emotionally invested because of how much damage he was taking, and there were times. I mean, from the jury's point of view, it was quick tagged in and out from Alexander Hyde and the judge. They were keeping things fresh, making sure neither one of them was in there for too long. Hype, that's what I'm thinking. So they were making sure that neither one was in there for too long. obviously to preserve energy, which is a really smart tactic. You know, the crowd didn't approve of it, but say what you want, you know, it's smart tactic, legal, it works. Yeah, they were doing nice quick tags to keep them fresh, and beating the crap out of Phil. He was in there for a very, very long time, and how he resiliated, that's not a word, so how he stayed in it for so long, I'll never know, but gotta give credit to him. He put up a lot of fight for that. He did manage to make the tag to Jack Bull. I've got no idea why I called you Bull. Maybe I was saying on the Cannonball Boys, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he did make the hot tag to Jack, who then came in, wave of momentum, took out the judge. And I should point out, the judge and Alexander Hyde are massive. They are very big competitors, so they're not easy to take down. So the Cannonball Boys did really well did really well to take on that wave of momentum given to him from the hot tag, and then go and take out both the judge and Alexander Hyde. After that, there was a bit of a scuffle, really, I guess is the word, as it always is in tag matches. And there's always that bit towards the end, but not quite at the end, when essentially everyone is fighting each other. I mean, obviously not teammates fighting each other, but both people on each team are fighting, are fighting each other. There's always that one bit where everyone's involved at some point, and so obviously that did happen again here, as it always does in a tag match. In the end, obviously, as I said, unfortunately it wasn't enough. The Cannonball Boys did pick up the win against... No, sorry. I got that completely wrong, sorry. The jury picked up the win, against the Cannonball Boys. And then after that, it was really... I mean, we all were expecting the jury to just go into the back, leave the Cannonball Boys to soak up the applause, because they put up a really good fight. So the crowd was expecting the Cannonball Boys to just soak up the applause and head into the back for, and the next match to continue and all that sort of thing. Obviously, it didn't happen. The jury did beat down after the match the Cannonball Boys, Jack and Phil, making a hell of a statement. And what I will say, I'm not sure if this is in the plans or not, but I would like to see a tag team championship introduced for Pro Wrestling Subjective, because you've got the Cannonball Boys, who are fan favourites, and who are absolutely fantastic to watch, by the way. You've got the jury, who are on a devastating streak at the moment, and then you've got the usual suspects, who weren't on the show this time, but who were on the last time and have been on the show before. As far as I remember, anyway. So I would like to see a tag team championship introduced for Pro Wrestling Subjective, as I think it would really... I think not only would it draw in more of an audience to the shows, but it would add an extra layer to the show as well if we've got another championship. So just putting that out there. Like I said, the shows as they are absolutely fantastic, but I would like to see a tag team championship introduced at some point down the line. Not sure when, but I think that's something that would be great. Not to mention you've got teams that can be formed specifically for that reason. So, like I said, I think it's just something that would be cool to think about. Anyway, so the final match, I think it was the final match. Yes, the final match, sorry, of the first half was the Pro Wrestling Subjective Women's Championship match, and this was the new champion Charlie Evans in her first title defence against the debuting Eliza Rue, who I interviewed just before the show. Now, as I said, this is Charlie Evans' first championship defence from when she won the title against Athena Fury in the last show. I can't remember what that was. I think that was called Tonight We Fight. I can't remember. I don't want to waste time and check. I think it's called Tonight We Fight, I'm not sure. So this was Charlie Evans' first championship defence since winning it against Athena Fury, and I'd say she had a walkout for her. This is my first time seeing Eliza Rue, as it has been a lot with Jack Green and Nathan Bryan, and one more person on the show who I'll get into later on in a minute. So yeah, this was Charlie had a world cut out for her because I was massively impressed with Eliza Wu. Eliza Wu, sorry. Like I say, it's my first time seeing her, so I'd go into this unbiased. I'd seen like highlights of her because I wanted to have some reference for my interview with her. So I'd seen a few of Eliza Wu's highlight clips on Facebook, but I'd not seen her in a full match, you know, live or online or anything like that. So I was going into this, you know, completely unbiased with no. Obviously, I did want Charlie Evans to win, but I in terms of how impressed I was, Eliza Wu blew me away. Frankly, she was absolutely fantastic. I'm hoping that that won't be the last time. Not only do I not want that to be the last time I see Eliza Wu in general, but I don't want it to be the last time we see her at Pro Wrestling Subjective. She had a great match against Charlotte Evans. She put up a really good fight, and she did. There were a couple of times where I was thinking we're gonna have a new champion here. Obviously we didn't. Obviously Charlie Evans did retain it in the end, but Eliza Wu massively impressed me. I will say the reason I'm not saying much about Charlie Evans in this match is sorry, I'll slow down a bit there. The reason I'm not saying much about Charlie Evans in this match is because not only do I know how good she is, but she's a pretty big name as well. So you don't need me to tell you how good she is. That's why I'm mainly talking a lot about Eliza Wu, because she was a highlight particularly for me, because I've never seen her before. So Eliza Wu massively impressed me. I hope it won't be the last time I see her. Yeah, Charlie Evans, always fantastic. She's great. You can't ever fault Charlie Evans. Complete sweetheart and just a fantastic talent to watch in the ring. Not only a great talent, but she gets the fans involved really well, which I love. Which me being in the front row always, well, as much as I can anyway. I love it when the wrestlers come out the ring and get the fans involved. I absolutely love that. So this was a fantastic match. Eliza Wu blew me away. My first time seeing her. Can't give her enough credit for giving Charlie Evans a hell of a fight. Charlie Evans walked away with the win. A deserved win, I'd say, but Eliza Wu massively impressed me. That was the final match of the first half. What I should have said before starting outside was that I don't know if I've got the order of these matches correct. I've got them written down here. There. Sorry about that. I'll keep burping and I'm really sorry about it. I know it's not what I want to hear, but I can't really help it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've got the order of these matches right. I've got them based on how they were on Pro Wrestling Subjective Instagram story. So the order they posted on there is the order I've got them here, because I think that's the order they happened in on the show. It might not be. I might be completely wrong. I don't know, but that's the only order I've got to go by. Otherwise, I'd be doing these completely randomly, and they would all be in wrong order. So at least this way, I have a vague idea of what I'm doing. But yeah, that was a fun match on the first half. So the second half kicked off with another women's match. This was Dominica making her debut against the returning Nightshade, who is very familiar among the Pro Wrestling Subjective faithful by this point. Dominica picked up the win, and Dominica she's intimidating, but she's a very intimidating opponent to come up against, to say the least. This was a match that I was really looking forward to. I thought if anyone can take it to Dominica, it was Nightshade. And to be fair, Nightshade did give Dominica a run for her money a lot. That doesn't make a lot of sense. She more than coped against Dominica, and I mean, again, obviously Dominica did pick up the win. I don't think that was too much of a surprise considering the nature of the win. But yeah, unfortunate for Nightshade, but for Dominica, I mean, she made her first appearance. I won't say debut because she wasn't actually competing in the last show, but she made her, I'll say an official debut actually, yeah, she made her unofficial debut in the last show, after, I think it was Nightshade had just beaten Jade, and she came out. Jade left the ring. Obviously, they wasn't watching any part of Dominica, sorry. So Dominica came down to the ring, attacked Nightshade, made a statement, fought her this match. Dominica picked up the win, and in a promo she did after the match on Pro Wrestling Subjective Instagram stories. So I know that I'm referencing their Instagram stories a lot, but that's what I'm going off here. In Pro Wrestling Subjective Instagram stories, Dominica did send a clear message to Charlie Evans that she wants the belt and she's coming after the Pro Wrestling Subjective Women's Championship. So if at any point, if that's the case, and if Charlie Evans does end up defending against Dominica, then that's going to be Charlie's toughest defense to date. Because Dominica is not someone to underestimate. She is an incredibly intimidating opponent to come up against for anyone. Yeah, I'm. I know that I'm not describing this brilliantly. That's just because I'm struggling to put into words how dominant Dominica has been in the times that I've seen her. She's a machine. So in the future, if Charlie Evans does face Dominica for the Pro Wrestling Subjective Women's Championship, I mean, if she does defend her title, then all I can say is good luck, Charlie Evans. You are going to need it against Dominica. Yeah. So Dominica did pick up the win against Nightshade, sent a clear message to Charlie Evans, and so the penultimate, I think that's what the word is, isn't it? The second to last match of the evening. This was Niwa, who I again interviewed before the show, versus Magic Myers, again another debuting talent at Pro Wrestling Subjective this show. Now Niwa, I call him the best international wrestler in the UK. Full stop. I'll say that he is not only one of the best wrestlers on the independent scene, he is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He is absolutely fantastic, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves because he's not a household name. He should be, and for the people that know who he is, he attracts them to shows, you know. But for people who know the name but have never seen him, you know, it's a crime how underrated he is. But yeah, I mean, so anyway, enough about Niwa. He's fantastic. Magic Myers. Again, this was Magic Myers debuting against Niwa at Pro Wrestling Subjective. So I keep getting my words tied up there, and he was absolutely that was a fantastic match. Sorry, I said someone walked past the door. Niwa was fantastic. Magic Myers was fantastic. This was a fantastic match. Niwa did. That was my phone as well. Sorry. Niwa did pick up the win. Fantastic win. There's not much to say about that because I mean, without breaking down the entire match, which I frankly can't remember to do. But yeah, Niwa was fantastic. Magic Myers was fantastic. I'm repeating myself there, but that's all I can really say. They're both fantastic. That was a fantastic match. I'm overusing the word fantastic. It doesn't sound like a real word anymore. That was an excellent match. Yeah, that was a really good second match to not to close out the show, but to bring the show into the closing match. So the final match of the card was the Pro Wrestling Subjective Championship. This was Steve Valentino defending against Thomas James Sky with Chris Drew, and Steve Valentino, I would say, was the underdog for this match. I don't like saying that because they were very evenly matched, but considering the Eric Jordan Experience beat Steve Valentino in the last show, I don't think it massively made Steve the underdog for this match, but it took a lot of people by surprise. So I think a few people were thinking, wait, if that happened last match, could it happen again this time? And bear in mind, this time this match was for the Pro Wrestling Subjective Championship, so there were a lot more nerves in the building. You could sense the nerves, really. Now, obviously, if you know Pro Wrestling Subjective, you know that this match didn't stay 1-1 for long. Chris Drew got involved with the Crutch, hence the name By Hook or By Crutch. Oh, I've just realised that actually, yeah. By Hook or by Crutch, Steve Valentino with the whole Hook, the pirate captain thing, and the TJ Sky with the Crutch. I've just realised that. Probably should have got that sooner, but there you go. Yeah, so Chris Drew did get involved. Steve Valentino held his own, to be fair. He held his own for a lot of that match. For most of it, it was 2-on-1. It was Thomas James Sky and Chris Drew versus Steve Valentino. Obviously, for that part, the referee was knocked out because it was a DQ match, so just a normal match, basically. So if they have been conscious for that, or have been aware of that, then Steve would have retained by he would have lost by DQ, but he would have retained, obviously, because he can't lose the title by a disqualification. So yeah, that didn't take one for very long at all. And because the referee was unaware of the less than the underhanded tactics, I'll call it, yeah, because the referee Steve Walker was unaware of the underhanded tactics Thomas James Sky used to take out Steve Valentino, it meant that Thomas James Sky did become the new Pro Wrestling Federation Women's Championship. So I'll try that again. It meant that Thomas James Sky did become the new Pro Wrestling Federation Champion. Sorry, not the Women's Champion. Dethroning Steve Valentino. Yeah. Right. Sorry about that. Jump cut. Someone did walk in the room, so that bit will just be cut out. But yeah. So yeah, TJ Sky did win the Pro Wrestling Federation Championship underhanded tactics, but Steve Valentino did say that as long as he's breathing, basically, he will win back that title. So I'd say to TJ Sky, your days are... If you want to keep that title, you're going to have a title on the back of your head, mate, because if you know Steve, you know that he's not going to be content with that at all, and he will come back for that title. So I'd say TJ, just watch it back, really. Yeah, and that brings my review of Pro Wrestling Objective to a close. This is absolutely fantastic. This is a great way for them to kick off the year. Sorry, this is a great way for this is a great opening show for the year. I know that Pro Wrestling Subjective have got more shows lined up for the rest of their year. If I've got their page open now, which I have, I will go and see if I can. I'll go and basically run through the dates of their upcoming shows. So you'll have to go to their page now, because I didn't have it up, but I'm too deep into this now to say I won't. Yeah, give me a second. So, okay, so I've got their upcoming shows here. So if you're interested, then the next show is on the 20th. Right, I should also point out these are all in the same place. They're all in the Rowley Learning Campus in Rowley Regis. Obviously, the details will all be on the events and on their Facebook page and other social medias. But if you do want to get down to the show, which I would seriously recommend, they are absolutely fantastic. Then so the next date is March the 24th, so the end of next month. Then the one after that is May the 12th, again all in the same place, all in Valley Regis. Then it's July 14th, the 22nd of September, and the last one of the year, well, at least the last one they've got listed, that probably will be the last one of the year, is November the 24th. So those are their 5 upcoming shows, for this year. If you're interested, then obviously go to their page if you're interested in tickets. Not sure if they're available just yet. If they're not, then you can obviously message them and ask them when about it. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked it. If you did, smash that like button, it helps out massively. If you didn't, dislike it, tell me how to improve. I strive to get better to improve with these. If you're new here and you want to subscribe, then you can click the little icon in the, I think it'll be in this corner, or wait, hang on, if I'm, yeah, as well, yeah. So click the icon in that corner. I think it'll be in that corner. It might be that one, but I'm not sure. I'll just do that. Yeah. So click the icon in one of those 2 corners, basically. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me. Obviously, I'll be back with another review of their next show. Hopefully, if I go to it, that is. Obviously, I do try to go to all of their shows, a lot of being a regular there. Yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you in a bit.